that he's good for you.
How do you know what's good for me?
That's my opinion! Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you? That I don't think that he's good.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. Hello. Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. I appreciate everyone that is already in the live. Thank you so much. And we're having kind of a lunchtime live. I've already been out and about running errands and doing certain things. So thank you all so much. I want to greet everybody that's come in, and then we'll go on to talk about In the City. That's the new Bravo show. We're on the 3rd episode, so it's still really new, first season. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you so much. I see one of the moderators is already here, Linda Gamble. Good to see you, Linda Gamble. Happy Thursday, Sandra P. Gen Extra. Happy Thursday to you, Linda Gamble. Thank you so much for joining me in the live. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Linda is here, greeting myself, the chat. Our instructions, as you come in, I would appreciate it very much if you hit the like button. On your way in, just treat it as a doorbell. Those of you that like to hang around a little while, maybe you'll hit it on the way out. I appreciate that. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. We have a lot of fun over here. We have a lot of different opinions over here. Polite contrarians are even welcome. So you may see Sandra P's Cloak of Immunity I have over the whole show because it is a new season, but that doesn't mean anybody can't get it if they're acting up. And we will welcome in American Born. Good afternoon at Sandra P's Gen Extra. Welcome in American Born. Don't stay away from me. American Born. Come in and take your seat. One of my friends, one of the regulars, one of the A1 Day Ones. And we're both getting to know this show, and it has my attention. So I'll see what you think about this episode, American Born. Mama Bees is in here, one of the sister moderators. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon for a lunchtime live, because we're going to do the live review of In the City. And I appreciate everyone that's here during the live. Team Replay, also, you get the special feature. You get a hype feature. YouTube is only giving out 3 per week right now. So if you would consider giving one to me, a new and growing content creator, I would appreciate that so much. She's saying afternoon to myself, Sandra P, mods, and to the chat. And then there's a lot of crosstalk, everyone speaking to each other. Love the Scamander Code busted. And if you are listening in the bushes, or you might be working out, you might be running errands, you might be working and multitasking, American Born is referring to what I have put up under my title of Sandra P's Gen Extra. I have that Amanda, Scamanda, is cold busted. Everyone who has followed Summer in the SummerHouse to In the City, we will get to see Amanda actually in action. And she's even dragged somebody over there that we were hopeful not to see again, only in, I think, reunion. They've had the first 2, we've got 3. And then I don't want to see that dust bucket anymore, but he is in one of the opening scenes, and we're going to talk about him like a dog. We also get a ray of sunshine over here as well, so I welcome that, and I have a special little video I'm going to show of her because she deserves it. That is my sweet Ciara from SummerHouse and Traders, soon to be Dancing with the Stars, one of the Love Island after shows. The future is so bright, she has to wear shades. So we will get a Ciara sighting in this episode. And we'll continue to know the In the City cast. Take the cloak off of Kenny, please. American Born. I peeped Kenny episode 1. Kenny moves a little bit funny, but I think he has met his match in Mother Hubbard because Lindsay's not playing with him. So I'm going to show a picture that I have of Lindsay and Kyle. It's actually in my background. Trust 612, my sister, one of the sister moderators, is in here. Thank you so much for joining the live. And again, this show, you can catch them also on, I think YouTube has posted them, or Peacock, which is where I watch because there's no commercials. And I also know they're available on Bravo as well. It's season 1, episode 3. So far, it's worth it. It's kept my attention. American Born is greeting Church 612. So welcome in, everybody. We're going to get started, and I appreciate all of you for coming in. I think what I'll do, I'll review this scene first, and then after this scene, I'll show you the video that we have of Ciara. Okay, so we have Amanda, Ciara, and West TD. we meet them, and they are just meeting in front of Amanda's soon-to-be building. And Ciara and Amanda were like, I was just checking your location. First scam and a sighting. She says, I forgot you could check my location. This is my new home. It's being built. And then Ciara's looking like her. She's like, oh, what do you mean new home? And West TD already knows what Amanda's talking about. She said, by yourself? Amanda says, yeah, I'm moving out by myself. Ciara says, you're moving into your own apartment ASAP? And then West says, how do you feel? Of course, he's got his hands on her shoulder because he's a weirdo. He doesn't respect boundaries of other men's wives. He's looking extra dirty. It's a sunny day and he's in a heavy jacket. So then we get a confessional with Amanda. She got her feet on the couch as she usually does. She said, Ciara obviously has been my friend, my best friend for a few years now. I'm obsessed with that woman. And then we flash back to them at SummerHouse. They like to play on little horses and they're sword fighting each other. And then she said, I became really good friends with West this summer. He was really there for me. Now, there were other men in the house that were there for her. Carl, to a lesser extent, Jesse, but she singles out West. And we know what we know now. So just watching this from kind of hindsight is crazy. We get a scene where we watch Kyle cuss her out like a dog and West move his chair. And I'm not laughing about Kyle cussing her out like a dog, but now that we know some of the backstory, it's making a lot of sense. Amanda was pulling a lot of strings behind the scenes. So when West moved his chair to get to her, you can't say F you to your wife. Lindsay's in the scene, and this is also interesting. We see them after this scene. They're in the hallway, and he's hugging her. Okay, you'd hug your friend, comforting her. He's got his arms, his hands all under this married woman's arms and everything. So y'all, we're seeing things now that I didn't see during the season. I don't regularly watch SummerHouse, but if I know something's coming up, then I will go ahead and watch it. But people that were watching it, AB is one of them. She says she actually saw some of it. So recently in this scene, this is last summer, Ciara and West, who of course had broken up at least 2 years ago, Ciara thought it was better for her mental and probably physical to keep him at arm's length. Y'all know I think he's dirty and doesn't wash regularly after being in the streets. So they were not really friends. They've made friends again. They've come to New York. They're checking on Amanda. So they're all having lunch together. They're sitting at the table. Amanda's on one side, Ciara and West on the other side. She's like, I had my perfect three together again. That's Amanda. I've been wanting this my whole life. And then she said, West has been dreaming about this too. West and her are looking at each other. Ciara is oblivious. Y'all, this is kind of heartbreaking to see my little sister be played with like this on TV. Oh my goodness. Ciara, welcome in, dear Yvette. Great to see you. Dear Yvette came in. She's speaking to everyone. And Church 612 is speaking back. Everyone's greeting dear Yvette. This is the scene, dear Yvette. It's actually the first scene, and it's a crossover from SummerHouse and In the City. Amanda, or Scamanda, as you can see, she thinks she's pulling a scam, but she has been exposed. She's cold busted. West TD is sitting there at lunch with her, and poor little clueless at this time, Ciara. Now, Ciara, from what we know from the reunion, she had already suspected something was going on because this is summer, and she suspected when she saw Amanda's location at West TD's house back in January or February. So they've already been busted, but they don't know yet. They still think they are smarter than the audience, smarter than everybody else. So this is Amanda's dream to have all her friends together. And West is sitting there saying, mine too. He's looking right at Amanda. They think they're making a mockery of the audience. And that's why we don't like him. He's still licking his ashy lips and all this. We get confessional Amanda. She's sitting there. And then production broke the fourth wall. She's sitting there in one pair of clothes. It was kind of like a record scratch. They pulled that down, put up a green screen, and the producer said, I think we need you to address this right now. And I'm like, oh, wow. She said, you know what I mean. So the producer is talking directly to Amanda. She kind of looked a deer in headlights, but because she is so duplicitous, I think she thought she could kind of lie to the producer. So she said, okay, we'll go back to, what are you thinking about this scene? May 5th of 2026. I want to hear from you, knowing what we know now. And then they start to show Andy Cohen talking about feelings have changed and connections have changed. And they show that stupid, bogus statement that the two of them put out, not addressing Ciara or Kyle, Amanda's husband. So we go back to the scene, y'all. Amanda is looking at West TD like this man is an ice cream cone and she loves ice cream. And the producer says, was there a crush? She says, yeah, no, this is my friend. I know what people are going to think. They're going to think what they want to think, but this is my friend. Amanda, we see you, girl. She was busted, y'all. She was busted. Even if the producer didn't stop and do all that, I think we would have known that something else is going on. So she said, these are two very important people and helped me get through this summer, a very weird time in my life. I'm so happy right now. So she gives this ish-eating grin, y'all. Wes is sitting there biting his fingernails and doing all this stuff. This is why I don't like to hold hands with people or do any of that stuff. Because why do people always have their hands in their face or in their mouth and everything? So he's sitting there biting his fingernails. No, they're lying to Ciara. And she says, this is Amanda at the lunch scene. We're not legally separated. We're not single. Now, remember at the reunion, she was just saying, I'm single. I was single. But now she's saying to Ciara and to West, even though West knows she lying, we're not looking at each other as legally separated or anything. So Ciara starts kind of questioning because Kyle is her friend too. And remember, behind the scenes, she's now a little bit suspicious, but she doesn't know anything. So they're not single. They're not even legally separated. He kind of wants to know what is going on. But I told him on our anniversary, and Ciara is looking like that was weird when he took her out for their dinner, the 4th anniversary dinner, and she broached the conversation of her moving out. I thought it was a strange time for her to do it. But we have since seen that Amanda kind of likes to torture Kyle. Now, Kyle has tortured Amanda during their relationship. Kyle's torture of Amanda, to me, started before they even got married. But she went in, eyes wide shut, so she could say, I's married now. So I have no sympathy for Amanda. I don't. I defend the woman most times, but in this case, I don't. So Ciara wants to know, well, how is Kyle taking it? And Amanda starts her scamming. Well, based on the conversation you had on the beach, he was a little bit prepared. And production puts in where Ciara, this is why we always warn Ciara, stay out of these married people business. She's got her little cap on and she's saying, how would you guys feel about separating and spending some time apart? And Kyle was pretending that he's shocked, even though he knows their marriage is a disaster. Also, he knew something we didn't know, that they hadn't had any intimacy in 4 years. Kyle, where do you think this lady was getting it from? Just crazy. And he's messing around too, but he calls it, I was being inappropriate, but I didn't actually cheat. Kyle, I don't know. I'm interpreting it like Bill Clinton interprets it. So they show Ciara, and then Wes is just sitting there looking. They ordered the food. Y'all, the food looked good. Amanda had some kind of lobster pasta, and they had all this, a couple of different pizzas on the table, salads. Ciara, I couldn't eat with you. Ciara is shaking the grated cheese like over the whole pizza as if she re-cheesing the whole pizza. But West was eating slices too. So Ciara, don't do that. Just cheese over what you're going to eat. You don't have to do all of that. So they're eating lunch, and Amanda feels like she's pulling the wool over Ciara's eyes, which she kind of is. Ciara, they made a little bit of fool out of you. So West is sitting there. Did you ever say to the MFer that if you don't stop doing this effing S right now, that I'm not going to be with you? I'm not going to be with your bitch, eh? Excuse me. That's what he said about Kyle, who is still Amanda's husband. Amanda's giving that Joker grin and laughing. I think West TD is so disrespectful of their marriage. But now that we know what was going on behind the scenes, it kind of makes sense. Amanda says, we've had, conversations. So production shows us a daily news where there was Kyle sighting, and he was out, fall down drunk, and someone was basically holding him up, which West TD does as well, Amanda. But she's letting them know that, yeah, she did talk to him about it. Stop being out drunk all night and then coming in drunk. She told some story about him coming in at 11:30. So Amanda cannot stand Kyle, and he is a terrible husband. But West TD, for me, has nothing to do with it. So there was some more blogs that they put out about Kyle. She was really trying to drag this man. And Kyle's terrible, but so is she. And I actually started defending Kyle during the end of SummerHouse and starting with this season. So West to me is being a little too familiar in how he talks about her. She's like, he's 43 years old. Sierra's like, yeah, he's acting kind of like college, but he's 43 years old. Now's the time to decide, does he even want to be married? Now we know that, I don't know whether or not Kyle wanted to be married or not. I know Amanda at this point in time, since she had a new man, I don't feel like she wanted to be married. So I'm going to stop a little bit. I'll go over a few of the comments in the chat so we can engage a little bit, and then I'll go back to the scene. Exactly. They think we are dumb. Yeah, it kind of really annoyed me, AB, watching this in light of what we know now. And I was glad that production did that, because they probably were watching the takes of it and were like, look, we can't even air this show like this. And we can't throw everything away and start over. So it's like, record scratch, I'm asking you about this now because you're a liar. You're a proven liar. But now I need you to clear this up. Production has been awesome with the shows now. They are American born. I like how they check in real time. If you tell a lie, they're more than likely are going to roll that bean footage on you right then, which I love. Did you see how Wes kept eating off her plate, shaking my head? I found that so intimate. I do not like people to eat off my plate. When I was married, my ex-husband wouldn't even eat off my plate without asking, can I taste that? And then have his own fork. He wasn't trying to eat off my fork and all that kind of stuff. Just West TD there's intimacy between them that we now know why he felt that comfortable. Now, I wonder if any of that was a red flag for Ciara in light of the fact that she was saying that she was already suspicious. She saw Amanda's location at his house sometime in like January or February and came up in the reunion. You turned off your location. She says in this scene, I forgot you had my location. She might have wanted Ciara to know. I don't know. I wouldn't put anything past old long face, long back Amanda. Just disgusting. AB says, America scammed Kyle as well. She was his side chick. She did whatever she had to do to get him. And AB, I think she did that so that she could be on the SummerHouse show and stay on there, because the way I look at Amanda, I don't think she's charismatic enough. I don't think she has enough personality, looks, clothes, anything I want to look at to have her as Paige when Paige used to be on there, or Ciara, of course, who is top to me as far as any of the women on there, or Lindsay. And then now we got Mia. Amanda's just not that girl, and I think she knows it. And I think she's always had a jealousy and hatred toward Ciara. And she told on herself when she said in the scene, I'm obsessed with this girl. I think you are obsessed with this girl. I really do. Welcome in. Have a kiki. Come in and have a kiki with us. Laugh out loud. I love extra cheese on the pizza. They'd be mad at me. What I would tell you, Kiki, just put the cheese on your few slices. Ciara was like cheesing up the whole pizza. If you're going to eat like 3 slices or however many, cheese those up. But she's taking care of everybody. Or maybe she knew, since she and West had dated and she and Amanda aren't best friends, that they like all that cheese too. Maybe. Trust 612, you're supposed to cheese your individual slice, not the whole pie. Thank you. This is my sister in real life, and we're from a big family. Those kind of things would cause like actual fights. So yeah, Having Kiki is telling Church 612, she is laughing. She said, considering they were lying to her, she can cheese the whole pizza, give them some stomach problems, LOL. Yeah, I feel like Ciara can do whatever she wants to do. Y'all, after this scene, I'm going to show you Ciara getting her little strut on, and I love it. I love it. And American Born is laughing. Dear Yvette is saying, wait, what we're watching. This is in the city. And I'm mentioning SummerHouse because, dear Yvette, of course, SummerHouse has ended. We've only got one more part of the reunion to go, which is part 3. And they have moved back to in the city, which they're taking care of their businesses. Lindsay, of course, has a child, Gemma. So that's what the live review is actually on, in the city. But I keep mentioning SummerHouse because in the first scene, we get to see our girl Ciara, of course, of SummerHouse. And old West TD has come to New York to be with his girlfriend, Amanda, but he's acting like he's supporting her as a friend. Amanda kills me talking like that. Like, she's so lazy, she can barely open her mouth. It's, Amanda! And then I think they had as her title, creative director. I'm like, creative director of what? The only one we see at work usually is Kyle. I think she gets a work scene this episode, but usually she doesn't. The new show in the city. Thank you, American Born. American Born has been on since episode 1. So we're getting into it. I didn't even know if I was going to follow it. Long back, long face. Yes, Having Kiki, I've had to be kind of muted on my criticisms of Amanda because of other suspicions I have about her. And I've seen on I call the Reddit streets, Skid Row. YouTube is the streets. So YouTube streets and Skid Row. So I don't want to body shame or anything, but there are certain little digs I will throw in at old long face, long back Amanda. Okay, sorry, y'all. I'm here now. That's okay, dear Yvette. You can weigh in as you know, or just join us. We have people in here that they don't even watch the show, but they come to have fun during the live because, you know, we like to have fun over here. Thank you, dear Yvette says. And Mama Bees is greeting. Have a kiki. Any new faces in the chat, I would appreciate you so much if you click the like button if you have not already, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. So there's some crosstalk. Everybody's talking. Hello, it's my first time here. It popped up on my homepage. Thank you, YouTube, for introducing me to Have a Kiki. I hope it is not your last time. We love new faces, and we welcome you in. And I'm Bravo, Peacock, In the City, SummerHouse, Real Housewives, hot topics, whatever you want to discuss, we will discuss. So thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. American Born is welcoming. And then Mama Bees are giving a little bit of the rules. So please hit the like button, subscribe, and share the live to keep the channel in the algorithm. Yes, that is what YouTube does. They see more engagement in the chat and that sort of thing. And they actually do introduce us to new subscribers. So I appreciate that. Thank you. So we get you in here and then I'll try to keep you. So we're still on this scene with West and Amanda, and Kiki is allowing Amanda to, well, no, it was Ciara cheese the whole pizza. So Ciara is starting to ask questions about what's going on between Kyle and Amanda. And she's saying, you know, it's kind of frustrating right now. We're not single, but we're not dating other people. West is sitting there literally eating off this girl's plate. Ciara, open your eyes. I'm so glad Ciara got this lesson relatively young. She's still in her 20s. So she says, I feel like we can separate to be back together because 24 hours, 7 days a week, we're together because they do work together on Loverboy, or Kyle works and then their apartment is next door. So, and we've seen Kyle when he goes next door. Amanda is an influencer, so she gets tons of free stuff and she has boxes in every stack of the apartment. It's just a mess. Kyle will come in, he's washing dishes. Not that I'm always defending Kyle. I never thought I would defend Kyle this much, but what Amanda and West TD have done, I'm having a fit about it. So Kyle is in a meeting while these three are at lunch, plotting his demise. Well, no, they're not. He's in a meeting with Loverboy and he's saying, I put blood, sweat, and tears and my marriage into this company. And the people that he's meeting with are asking him questions. He's saying that he's trying to solicit people that can take up minority or majority shares, but it's not coming off as quickly as he would like it to. So Loverboy was still in kind of dire financial straits at this time. I'm hearing that things are looking up for him. So good on Kyle, good on Loverboy. He's saying, I'm doing this, you know, to help us. He's trying to solicit money. One of the women in the group was saying, well, I need to know, am I going to be looking for another job? He said, well, I can't tell you whether or not to look for another job. Kyle, that's all I need to hear. Okay, I'd be in the one-ends after this. All right, let me look at some more comments. A little more information from Have a Kiki. I live here in Charleston, South Carolina, where they film Southern Charm and Southern Hospitality. I am kind of like a casual viewer of both of those. I know that Southern Hospitality is having their reunion now. So I got to see what's going on with them. Michael's, I say, would be my favorite from Southern Hospitality. Southern Charm, the way they treat Benita, I have kind of a hard time with. Have a Kiki. So she's my internet niece as well. I'll peep in on her, but I don't really like that crew as a whole. I think Miss Patricia has her own set of problems. I would have to address her. I watch both those shows. They're awesome. American Born. American Born is a Bravo holic as well. Cece says good morning, and she's greeting everyone individually. Welcome in. She's one of the sister moderators, and she has come into the chat. Thank you for joining us during the live, Cece. This is In the City. It's season 1, episode 3, and it's Mimosas and Mayhem. I'm recapping, but I'm giving my opinion as well, because this cast solicits some strong opinions from me. Have you been to Leva's place? Yes, we do like to ask that, Kiki. If you are in a certain area and there's something that we're familiar with, we'll ask questions, but just share what you feel comfortable with. I appreciate it. I'm always running into them filming both shows. Yeah, I've been to Leva's place. The cast does actually work there in real life. Good. I'm glad to hear that because we've got Scamanda over here trying to put one over on the audience and kind of act from a script. And this scene is so awkward, y'all, because she knows that they're acting a script. West knows that they're acting a script. And Ciara doesn't know. She's just kind of suspicious and a little off, but not knowing. So y'all, that part drives me crazy. I don't like people to pull the wool over my eyes like that. It's just too much. So CC says there's 8 likes and 8 in the chat, in the live. Thank you. I love it when you make it match. Thank you so much. So, wow, so cool. I think that's cool as well. Dear Yvette says, me too. I watch everything. Oh, okay. Dear Yvette's one of my fellow Bravoholics. I love it. So we are continuing. Kyle's in his meeting. Amanda's at her lunch with her boyfriend, y'all. So she knew that she was moving out. She said she's moving out so that they can kind of get back together. So we have Ciara's kind of looking at the both of them, and she wants to know what's going on with Loverboy. And Amanda's saying, well, I'm kind of not involved in that. I'm staying out of that. Now, if she's creative director, how is she staying out of that? Ciara tells her, if you get separated, you have to be in it, because if they're in financial trouble, it has something to do with you. She says, well, I'd like to think that if we did get to a point where we were separated, he wouldn't do that to me. And Ciara lets her know that's kind of a naive way of thinking of things. And Amanda, I guess she has never had to think about coming on the wrong end of anything in her life, but she's kind of surprised. So I thought that whole thing was a little bit crazy. So they're at that lunch. And please, Bravo, do not show us West anymore. I don't even want to see him on SummerHouse. I'll look at him during this part 3 of the reunion, but Lord, let that be it. So they drag Kyle a little bit more, him being 43. Meanwhile, he's the only one over here working, and he's trying to keep this business going. I'm glad to hear Loverboy's doing better. So in addition to whatever else they sell, drinks, or what is it, a bar? I'm not sure what it is, but he has merchandise. So West is sitting there, he's scratching, and they're still talking. And Amanda hasn't really been involved, but she does have the title. I'm staying out of his stuff financially, but I'm glad Ciara put her straight. Even though I don't care for her, I don't like to see anybody blindsided. So she now is on notice that you have no prenup, and it could be an issue whether or not you have anything to do with it or not. And she is an officer in the company. So I found that whole conversation really interesting. And Amanda's in her 30s. Ciara's the youngest one, and Ciara is really, she's on it. She just bought a home, bought her childhood home. She's refinishing it. So I think that's great. Amanda's saying she's overwhelmed. She's moving out so that they don't get stuck. And Ciara saying, well, I'm praying for you. And West makes this stupid look on his face. Y'all, that was diabolical. It really was, especially knowing they've been fooling around since at least January, if not before then, tracking back to 2024. So we really don't know. We see a scene with Lindsay. Lindsay is having a scene with the guy, has some type of organic milk farm, Frank. They meet, they look good together. Lindsay is telling us that it's kind of harder to date now that she has Gemma, and this man in the dairy farm, he orders a rosé. It's a whole thing, but I thought that it was a cute little scene, cute little couple. So he mentions that she could be kind of like Samantha Jones, Sex in the City. I thought that was funny that he made that reference. We go to another scene. We have Yvonne, who is Lindsay's childhood friend, and Georgina, who is the dermatologist. We find out that these two met through Lindsay, and they've only known each other since 2023, but they're getting a little bit closer. So they met at Lindsay's bridal shower. So now they're friends on their own. And Yvonne likes meeting with her because she always brings her sweet little kids, Robert and Eloise. So they're meeting at a park. They're going to walk around. The little girl's in a stroller. And Georgina takes the little girl out and the little boy. They're just like playing and picking up wood chips and putting them in their mouth, doing all kind of stuff while these two are talking. We find out from Yvonne that she still wants to talk to her husband, Nick. We met Nick first episode 1 and 2, and Nick doesn't really seem interested in having children, but we find out Yvonne is from a huge family. There's like 7 girls on her side. And then the mother, I think the father had like 8 siblings and the mother might have had 7. So we see a picture of all these huge family members. She has over 20-something first cousins. And she said, usually you would think in a family like that, you could just pop out a baby. But of course, it's not just up to her. It's also up to Nick. So next we get a scene with Kenny Williams. Y'all, Kenny gets on my nerves. Kenny is the one that is moving Whitney. Whitney's calling herself an influencer. She's also in Batch Nation. I don't know what role she played because they have a bunch of other shows now. But she has moved to New York to move in with Kenny, and they've been dating a little less than a year. Kenny's apartment is beautiful, everybody. It really is. The producer says, are all these crystals Whitney's? That was a huge assumption. They're not. Kenny said he started with one lavender and now he has all these crystals. I saw he had a little sage packet and everything. So his gorgeous apartment, he is letting Whitney move in. And this woman is moving 31 huge boxes across country. I don't think I would have let her do that, y'all. They're coming in. Kenny come downstairs and pretend he's going to help the moving man. If you need me, I'm right here. I'm like, no, I hate moving. I wouldn't have helped at all. I'll look at a few comments. Then I might try to pick it up, put the picture in so we show the people Kenny that don't know them yet. I just saw that Yvonne is pregnant now. American born, thanks goodness. She's in her 30s and they've been married 4 years. So perfect timing. Kenny makes my skin crawl. Yeah, AB, I think he wants to be on TV a little bit too much. Kiki saying Kenny is a Orange Man supporter. He can lead. I knew I was getting a vibe from him that wasn't a great vibe. That doesn't shock me. He is also, I think he referred to himself as a venture capitalist and something like that. All right, you know what I will do? Let me put up Kenny so you see what he looks like since I referenced him and Whitney. Let's see. I'm going to share screen. All right, that's Kenny. That is Kenny. Hopefully, yeah, and there's Whitney. Whitney has moved cross country. So she's Batch Nation. That's Kenny. To me, he flies up in Lindsay's face too much. I said from episode 1, even though he pretends he doesn't like Lindsay, I'm getting red pill type thing off of him. I'm also getting that he likes to humble women. So he may call Lindsay a man hater and all this kind of stuff. I think he's kind of got a crush on Lindsay. And Whitney, as we'll see in this episode, she does a lot of crying and this sort of thing. Now, since we just left the Ciara scene, what I want to do is show you what Ciara has going on. Since she just had one little scene in this episode, which by Ciara, she doesn't have to really be here because I don't want to see her with West TD and Amanda anymore. This is her on Interview Magazine. Look at Ciara strutting. I don't want to play the music, but I'll play it for a second. That's Sex in the City, y'all. Look at that. Gorgeous. So look at her. I know Amanda had a fit when she saw that. You know, Amanda and West TD always try something stupid when they see Ciara getting any kind of shine. So Interview Magazine's being messy, and they're calling this cover and all that of her Ciara in the City. So eat that, Amanda. So that's really cute. Let me get back to the scene. She's looking good. That's the girl right there. She's looking great. Okay, and then we'll go back. Church says, West sounds dirty and stank. Gotta watch just to see him. Yeah, he does. He makes a joke about he always needs like 4 sweat pads and stuff. I just posted a picture of him when he was in Italy at a wedding, no less. You can see sweat stains all down his back. And knowing that he wears sweat guards, I just find that yuck. And Cece's telling Kiki, I assume most of them are. Oh, I try not to think about it, Cece. I have had to separate that from when I'm watching these shows because these shows really are just like a fun, it should be a fun thing. But Ciara said in the reunion, I have to speak to certain friends about all topics, be it race, politics, whatever, or we're just not going to be friends. And I agree with Ciara because some people they want to have blinders on. In this day and age, we really can't. I also feel like he wanted her to move in for the show. Why do I think that too, Kiki? Because he and Whitney, I didn't see the chemistry and I don't see the chemistry. He looks the way he sounds to you. Yes, Cece says yes. She's confirming the Church 612 who doesn't even watch the show yet. West TD is dirty. So his name is West, but his nicknames are Midwest and West TD for obvious reasons. He also out here just slanging around and he should not. See, Amanda will never be that type of girl. Kiki, did you see Ciara strutting down the street? Ciara in the City. I love it. Ciara is using that Olandria blueprint. I love to see the ladies do it. When you count them out, don't do it because they will be back. I love it. I love it. So let's see. Let me go back to this scene and then I'll go back into the comments and we'll talk some more. So let's see. Where are we? Kenny has Whitney and her 31 boxes moving in. And Kenny has a gorgeous apartment. I was shocked that she's moving in with all this stuff. And I'm kind of not surprised that Kiki picked up a little bit that he might be allowing her to do that for the show, because it's going to come up later. He's already had a scene with Kyle where he's saying he doesn't feel a spark and this sort of thing. So Lindsay also said to her, "You move cross country with no ring." And that's when he called Lindsay, "Oh, I'm sensing man-hater vibes." She's not a man-hater. She's just realistic. And Whitney, you basically homeless, girl. You're homeless because this man could put you out at any point, and then what you're going to do? So this is kind of sad. So let's see. We did the milkman date with Lindsay. We are now with Whitney moving in her 31 boxes. She had the nerve to say, "What about the fire escape? Could you put your bike out there?" No, Whitney. Fire escapes have to be clear in New York or anywhere else. You don't put stuff on fire escapes. So she's moving in. She's moving all this crap in. And he is kind of picking at her. Well, if you had friends, I don't like the way Kenny is with women. He doesn't mind poking women a little bit, which is fine. You can verbally spar, but something he said hurt Whitney's feelings, and now she's crying. I had a note. "Whitney, why are you crying? She better toughen up, because this is really silly." He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I love you." And he's one of those people that will apologize quickly. But to me, that just means you don't mean it. But I'm going to give Kenny a little grace, because we find out that he lost his mom, I think, in the last year. He and his friend Gavin were talking about it in episode 1 or 2. So I can feel for Kenny on that. But I don't like the fact that Kenny has now a couple of times flew up in Lindsay's face and tried to draw her out in an argument, and also made assumptions about her. So she's going through these boxes, box 14, box 18, and it's huge boxes, most of them. 18 just had like beauty stuff in there. And I said, "This is crazy." She's got a box with just like wooden balls in it. And he said, "Oh, you had to move all this stuff cross country." Kenny's one of those people, he's smiling, but he's really annoyed. So I think maybe that's why she was crying. She could see that she's annoying Kenny. So he's like, "Well, maybe you need your own set of friends. Maybe you need some minions." So now this new thing, he's calling Lindsay and all of her friends minions, and that they do Lindsay's bidding and this sort of thing. I don't think that's true. She's saying, "I've moved across country. You could compromise. You could be a little nicer." He was kind of annoying, but I don't know why she's crying. So let me see where we are. That might be the end of that scene. So we got Whitney crying. Kenny was joking with her. Now he tells her he loves her. I don't know. I don't like men like Kenny. I think he likes to keep her on pins and needles. So next, we have a meeting that I didn't know we were going to see yet. We have Danielle and Lindsay meeting for lunch. So that was kind of shocking. We know that they know each other from SummerHouse. They have been into it before on SummerHouse. And for me, rightfully so. I think that Danielle, I don't like how forward she is about certain things that she has said. So Lindsay came in, and then she says, "I'll get a mimosa just in case I need it for later." Danielle sits down, and then we get a confessional with Lindsay, and the producer is saying, "Well, what made you say yes?" And Lindsay said, "I always say yes." Lindsay, you're lying. Production shows us Lindsay in the last scene with Danielle when they had the Welcome to New York Whitney party. Danielle got down where Lindsay was, and she said, "Can we meet for just a drink?" And Lindsay's like, "Can we talk about it later? Can I think about it?" So now she's telling production that she always says yes. She doesn't always say yes, but Lindsay knows she kind of needs to move the show along, or maybe even add another minion. We don't know. So Danielle's sitting there. She's lying too. "I find out that maybe you feel like I've hurt you in some way. I may be direct, but I only have good intentions for you." And she's saying that it's just her delivery. Lindsay's saying, "No, that's not what it is. It's not just delivery." And then Lindsay is telling us that Danielle, of course, some of the things that Danielle have done, she found out that Lindsay was carrying, not from Carl, her longtime friend and boyfriend, but from, I can't remember his name, a T name, Trevor, Turner, something, Gemma's dad. She had only known him a couple of months. He was a rebound relationship, and now they have a child together. They are in mediation, the whole nine. So Danielle was kind of critical of that. And then she said, "You didn't know the guy this long? He's put a baby in you?" And she said that to Lindsay in front of a group of friends on SummerHouse on the beach. We see Kyle discussing it with Amanda. Kyle is quite the gossip, but it kind of makes me laugh when men do that. We see Kyle discussing it. And then also she said, oh, so you might be single momming it up. All things that offended Lindsay. So Lindsay accepts her apology. And then Danielle says, well, I kind of want us to get back on track, maybe see updated pictures of Gemma. Gemma's 10 months old and she's never met Gemma. So she said, maybe baby steps, pun intended. And they kind of laughed together. So I think things are going to be okay with these ladies. We will see. Let me get back in the comments and then go to the other scene because we're going to have a big scene that has a lot going on. And then we're going to see more of Kenny twerking before these cameras. Kenny, this is not your show. He's not even the side character. I don't see Kenny and that lady Lansing. I don't either, AB. Whitney is a little bit too weak for him. She's already running around crying. And then you take New York with very limited apartment, or maybe that's a condo space. And then she had the nerve to move in 31 boxes. I love that the general consensus is that West is stank. Yes, Kiki, we do not like West TD over here. Now, hopefully we'll attract someone that does like West TD so he can have an advocate. But I don't really care. I try to be fair, but I can't be objective on West. So maybe it's a blind spot, but I don't think so. I find West to be a terrible person. Everybody is laughing. Everybody's just laughing in agreement with West. I don't like people that move that way. And then people are saying that he's fraudulent as well. So we've heard on the reunion, Ciara accused him of being a fraud. Kyle accused him of being fake, a fraud, and a phony. And then Dara even had a lot to say. And I agree, Mama Bees. Danielle's baby is due around Labor Day. Mama Bees. Danielle is having a baby with a married man, everybody. And yes, I did say that she judged Lindsay about carrying a baby as a single woman with a single man because they had not known each other long. Owen, the big head guy, Owen. Let me see if I can show Owen. Owen is her boyfriend. She allowed the man to move in, even though he has a wife. She's allowed him to move in. And she's now having a baby with him. Y'all, that's crazy to me. I don't know what to say. I'm a little bit speechless, but I'm not shocked at Danielle. Danielle's got a lot of nerve. And then we're going to see her later on complaining, people are calling me a home wrecker. You've moved somebody else's husband in with you. If they don't call you Danielle, they're going to call you a home wrecker. I'll just call you Danielle because I don't like to call people out of their name, but sometimes it is justified. Y'all, that's crazy. Around Labor Day, I'm trying to pull up her big-headed boyfriend, this lady's husband. His name is Owen, and the other thing I cannot stand is that he spells it O-U-I-N. So Owen's mom, y'all didn't like him either. There he is. Look at him. Ugh. He's a tennis pro or a former tennis pro or something like that. So that's Owen. Ugh, look at him. Okay, let's get back to the scene. Mama Bees, I can't believe that. Thank you for inserting that. That is crazy. And let's see. I can't stand Danielle. She was acting an entire fool when Lindsay and Carl got engaged. Kiki, she might have been jealous. And thank you for bringing that up. That's why I like to read the comments, because I was bringing up the different grievances. Danielle is sitting in the confessional going, I can't believe all these grievances. And how far do they go back? Because while they're sitting at the table, Lindsay said, and another thing, and a week after I broke up from Carl, you were in the back seat of an Uber giving him a hand job. Excuse me, y'all. I know it's early, but this is what Lindsay said. So Danielle, that's kind of trifling. Danielle saying, I didn't do that. Danielle, by the way, you said that. I know you did it. And so that's when we get back in the confessional and she goes, how far back can the grievances go? There's no statute of limitations on grievances. My sister once told someone, they said, how long are you going to hold on to this? She said, as long as I remember. So that's family lore. It's really funny because you have every right to hold on to something if you choose to. Yes, Big Head is right. Doesn't he look weird? I don't like him at all. Let me take that picture down. Sorry, y'all. Jump scare. Owen, we don't care for you over here. At least he looks clean. He's no West TD, but I don't care for him at all. Tennis pro with that large head. Yeah. Yes, he did. In the first episode where they introduced him, that's what she was saying. And I don't know what he does now. It'll come to me. I think he's trying to put together some kind of hotel. I think he called it a technology hotel or something. I don't know. Some of these people just go to Chat GPT and try to make up cool titles because I don't know what a technology hotel is. Kiki, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, he weird, big head, name spelled funny, just a clown. The whole thing a mess. Ouin. All right, so Danielle and Lindsay. Danielle saying, I just don't want you to think that when I tell you something, it's with a negative point of view. And they agree to disagree, let bygones be bygones. But that messing around with Carl in the back seat a week after he called up the engagement, I just find that a little bit crazy. Production inserts all these different times when Danielle is speaking out of turn, flying up in Lindsay's face, and Lindsay being kind of taken aback at Danielle's behavior. Now, Danielle, are you jealous of Lindsay? I don't know. Now you over here having this married man's baby. And that's something else Kenny's going to bring up too. He already confronted them with that. You're judging me and you had a baby with a man you barely knew. That was for Lindsay. And then you over here living with a married man. That's for Danielle. So Kenny can be as messy as he wants to be as well. Danielle 100% apologizes to Lindsay. And then in a confessional, she threw a little shade. She said, well, most of the things that I say and get me in the most trouble, I'm telling the truth about. And then production shows us Lindsay being told by Danielle, you're going to be single momming it up. And they show us in a scene with Gemma, her 10-month-old, and Lindsay. So the two of them, we'll see what happens. Right now, they have this kind of a tentative truce, which I'm okay with. There's no need to really argue with anybody. But Lindsay, I'd watch Danielle. I don't trust her. So now the two of them are walking to lunch. I do love the fact that the show based in New York, they show a lot of scenery. We get to see different ones responding to a text that are going to meet for this big group brunch or lunch. Amanda's laying on the couch, lying, I'm on the way. She's still laying on the couch, everybody. Just lazy, unmotivated. Big head, still married. American Born, he was certainly married last summer. I don't know if he's still married as we speak. I'll have to go to Reddit, otherwise known as Skid Row, and try to scavenger up some more information for one of my Bravo extras. Because I'd love to know that. She moved in with a married man. He was still married at that time. She got pregnant by a married man. Now, I don't know if his divorce will be final by the time the baby gets here, but I don't know. I'm curious to see. I know Lindsay probably going to eat her up about it as well as Kenny. And I'll allow it. Even though I don't care for Kenny, I'm okay with him doing that. Okay, next we have the two. Everybody's just saying where they are. They're showing up. Kyle's letting them know as soon as I clean up, because he's had that Loverboy meeting. As soon as I clean up, I'll be there. Also, I think I skipped the scene because Kyle was in a Loverboy sweater and Amanda was in the same Loverboy sweater. So they're on the street. She's also wearing some cute glasses. They're walking to this podcast interview. She's always teasing Kyle. I think Amanda's jealous of Kyle in addition to not really liking him. Why do we have to wear the same thing? When you saw the man put on the same sweater as you did, you could have changed. Maybe that was his way of just trying to have solidarity. I don't know. But she's already busting Kyle's balls. Why do we have to wear the same thing? He didn't say anything to that. They're talking a little bit more about her new apartment, which she showed Ciara and West TD. The building is still being built or something like that. So I don't know the time frame, but they're on their way to this podcast. They're almost at the building. And she's talking more about, it's kind of hard finding an apartment. She's doing that whiny thing. A furnished apartment, pet friendly, 30 days. Everybody knows you're not going to find an apartment for a 30-day rental unless you already live there. They may renew you 30 days at a time, but nobody's going to take in a fresh tenant at 30 days. And Amanda knew that. So now she's talking about a year lease. Kyle is kind of shocked at that. They're talking about it. Y'all, they get upstairs to these people podcast. It's called like Boys Lie or something like that. And Amanda's in her confessional. Boys lie, girls lie too. She's throwing us all kind of little breadcrumbs. Amanda, we see you. That's why I'm calling you Scamanda, and you have been cold busted. Reddit also calls her that, as well as IG. This lady's too much. So she gets up there, and the podcast girls, they were cute and they were fun. And she said, oh, not West, I'm sorry. Ooh, that was a Freudian slip. She said, oh, Kyle and Amanda. And I think it's cute that they're dressed alike. So you guys have been together 4 years or 10 years, however long. She started out as one of the jump offs, outwit, outplayed, outlasted, and now she is the wife. But of course, they are headed toward divorce court. And the girl wants to know, how do you keep the music playing? How do you have a spark? And Amanda's like, a spark? And I'm like, you asking the wrong people. Her and Kyle make up some kind of lie. So that whole thing was a mess. After they get done with that, everybody's heading to their little group thing. So Lindsay and Danielle go straight to the lunch. We see Gavin come in for this last scene. We haven't seen Gavin, everybody. Hey, Gavin. Gavin has got the cap on, and he's extremely messy. He's got kind of a crush on Lindsay, too. And he likes to take digs at his friend Kenny. But she had no problem walking around New York in West funky clothes. She sure did. And I forgot to mention, Ciara got cold because she weighs 101 pounds. And they were sitting outside, even though it was summer. And West was like, are you cold? He took that stink, wrinkled, dirty, sweaty jacket and put it on Ciara. And Amanda had the nerve to look jealous. I'm sorry, I would have just had to sit there and shiver because I wouldn't wear anything that have touched West's body. But Ciara, I guess you know better now. AB said, just dusty. Both of them. And she directed that at Kiki. Amanda and West TD. We know who you're talking about. They are dusty, and I just don't understand it. I hate it. So the last scene is a fun scene. This is the big group brunch. So at this big group brunch, everybody's sitting down. It looks like they have already ordered, but I guess that's okay because Lindsay and Danielle just came from Mimosas and whatever else they had. I think they had a few little appetizers and stuff like that. So we see Gavin. I won't forget to show y'all Gavin for those of you that don't know. Amanda comes in. She's dressed okay. She has a sweater on though. And she's like, don't get up, don't get up. Amanda really thinks that she's the star of this show. Amanda, we are tolerating you on this show. We really are. Kyle comes in separately. Remember, I told y'all they went to a podcast meeting together, but he comes in separately. And of course, she had been at home, I guess, right after this meeting. So, Amanda, why didn't you go back to Loverboy and try to help save this company? Everybody's coming in at different times. We have Lexi, and I forgot a whole scene with Lexi. I have to bring it in because it's pivotal. Lexi's a little bit forgettable, everybody. She's pretty. She says she's a model as well. I said she says because I don't really see her anywhere. Andreas, the gorgeous Italian, she married him and they had their wedding in Italy. Another event that Kyle attended alone. Now, we know Amanda was just in Italy for a wedding with her boyfriend, West TD, and his family. Yes, she let Kyle travel alone to Italy for a wedding. But in this other scene, it was Georgina, who's the dermatologist, Whitney, and also Lexi. And it's important because, remember, Kenny has already been kind of unsure on the fence about Whitney. Everyone knows it but Whitney. We get all these different scenes of Kenny just dropping little breadcrumbs like, I don't know, we'll see what happens. He says their relationship is a little bit murky. He tells Kyle that he doesn't really feel a spark. Yet he's let this lady move cross country, move 31 huge boxes in with him, and he doesn't feel a spark. Kiki thinks what I believe, that maybe he did it for the show. So on this scene, Lexi is saying, I just want to tell you some things that Andreas was being told by Kyle that Kenny told him. And these men, I like them because, y'all, they play the telephone game all day long. They have their boys' night out, and all they do is gossip. So they're all sitting on the bench, Whitney, Georgina, and Lexi. Whitney's sitting in the middle. So Lexi is telling her, Kenny told Kyle and Kyle told Andreas that he don't really see a spark between the two of you. And Whitney's shocked, like, he doesn't see a spark. And Georgina takes Whitney's hand. She was like, don't get upset until there's something to get upset about. Now, Georgina's husband left her while she was pregnant, and she had a toddler and 2 dogs. So Georgina is easily triggered by that, but she's trying to calm Whitney down. And then Lexi said, and then he also said, your relationship might be a little bit murky. And Whitney's like, murky? Like murky water? So I thought that was funny. Georgina was like, don't get upset. Whitney starts tearing up. So now we know that all this happened, and here they are at brunch. So they're at this brunch. Lindsay and Danielle comes in, and Gavin like, what the F is going on? Because at boys' night, they also found out from Kenny that Lindsay and Danielle are not friends. Remember, they had kind of an argument at the party before Kenny started arguing with Lindsay separately. So Kenny's in the mix as well. I don't care for him, but I'll allow him to be all in the mix and stirring up stuff. And he's trying to be seen. He's really working this show. So everybody gets in already. And Kyle said, did you two come together? And she said, yeah, we came together. Things are okay. I got an apology. Kyle with his messy self. Let me show y'all. Let me show you how Kyle was looking. Kyle is sitting next to Lindsay. This is at the point it got kind of heated. So Kyle was sitting next to Lindsay. Amanda's on the other side of him. You can only see one side of her long face, but that's her long eye. So Amanda's sitting right there next to Kyle. And then Danielle is saying, yes, I gave an apology. We've agreed to disagree, this and that. And Kyle said, oh, you're giving out apologies. Give her one. Kenny said, wait a minute. Who needs an apology? Kyle has the nerve to be talking about Amanda. And here is the apology that Amanda wants, everybody. When they were at the Whitney Welcome to New York party, Amanda was standing in a circle with Georgina, one of the other minions, and whomever else was over there. And Danielle was complaining that Lindsay iced me out. I tried to hug her hello. I tried to invite her for a coffee. And Amanda's like, well, are you going to apologize? Do you know what you're apologizing for? Amanda was trying to get more into it than was her business, I think. And so Danielle ends up pointing in her face. And Amanda was saying, get your finger out of my face. And Danielle saying, I can do that. I can do that. So the two of them were like face to face at this Welcome to Whitney party. But production didn't really think it was that important because they show it to us in hindsight. And the Lindsay Kenny argument was a little bit better. Because y'all know, I think there's other type tension between those two, even though they don't like each other. So Kyle has the nerve to try to get an apology for Amanda, which Danielle's like, I'm not giving Amanda an apology. Amanda was flying up in my face too. So these two are kind of at a standoff. So Kenny decides he's not getting enough attention. Kenny pipes up and says, well, I'm finding that Lindsay has a lot of minions. And if you're into it with Lindsay, you're into it with about 5 girls. And Amanda says, I'm not one of Lindsay's girls. Minions. So her, Yvonne, and Georgina take offense to minions. Yvonne kind of take offense, but not really. She said, I don't really know what the minions are. Yvonne, I think that this whole dumb act is just an act, because Yvonne was a high-level VP at a publicity company doing marketing or whatever else. So that's how she was even on the party scene in New York. Because I find Yvonne a little bit forgettable. But she sits up, I don't know, what's a minion? So they start explaining to her about what the minions are. Lindsay starts jumping up that she doesn't have minions. She just has friends, and pointing her finger across the table at Kenny. And then this part where she jumps up and she's clapping. That's why our hands are in motion. She starts clapping at Kenny, doing all this stuff. Welcome in Kiwan JTV. She's one of my fellow content creators. Thank you so much for joining me during the live. Let me go back to make sure I don't miss anything, everybody, and then we'll continue on with this last scene. And we're right below an hour. American Born was laughing at something. Not sit there. Yes, I would sit there and shiver. Trust 612. West is that dirty. And you know I'm cold-natured. Unless I'm having one of my personal summers, and then y'all know I'll have to pull out a face wipe. I'll never forgive Paige for choosing Craig over Andreas. I think that Paige will never forgive Paige, because Andreas, honey, he had that Italian wedding. Now he has his Lexi, and I hope things are going well for them. I think they're the cutest couple. But Paige, I don't know. Andreas, he wouldn't have had to ask me twice. I'll tell you that for free. AB says, I'll give her a pass. She's still Ciara's friend. Everybody loves Ciara except for Scamanda and West TD. I know I'm late, but hey, y'all. That's okay. You're right on time, because we're at the last scene, which gets kind of explosive. Kiwan JTV. Everyone's speaking to Kiwan JTV. Welcome in. So there's Lindsay getting all clappy, and Kenny's one of those people. He likes to provoke you and then act like, why are you doing all this? So he's asking her, like, you know, what's going on with you? And she said, I don't have minions. I don't have this. She's clapping and she's yelling. And so Kenny, this was none of your business. This was kind of between the women. And y'all, at this moment when Lindsay is jumping up, clapping, doing all this stuff, for some reason, Whitney takes her head and lays it on Kenny's shoulder like, Now we know, Whitney, you are a fool. This man has moved you across country with, as Lindsay said, not even a ring. And then now we find out he doesn't even want your little funky boxes in there, all those 31 boxes. I would have taken you straight to the storage company. So Lindsay and Kenny are getting into it. Everybody is kind of getting a kick out of it. Yvonne's Nick Nick explained to his wife Yvonne what the minions were. And then he says, I don't know. I wouldn't call them minions. Georgina over here, she got her own mind. Everybody got their own mind. She's a doctor. Somebody called Georgina Dr. Minion. Georgina didn't say anything because I would have been like, I'm not a minion. And I don't think Lindsay's using them as minions because they all got their own mind. So Nick says everyone has their own opinions. They're not minions. So then Amanda, who's not getting enough attention, says, opinions, not minions. Opinions, not minions. So she's doing this stupid little chat. And then Nick starts to kind of chant with her, opinions, not minions. Opinions, not minions. Kenny's still picking at Lindsay. You like to recruit your girls. Lindsay's still yelling. She's getting all clappy. You don't know ish about me. You don't know ish about my relationship with her. Because Lindsay and Amanda really are not that close. She tried to support Amanda because of how Kyle was treating her, but they're not really that close. Amanda says, yeah, I'm not one of Lindsay's girls. I'm not one of her minions. You don't know our relationship. And Kenny is fielding like pushback from all areas, but he's kind of warding it off a little bit. Kenny, I don't like you, but keep the girls in place. So I found that kind of funny. Lindsay's doing all this stuff. And then Kenny, to me, went a little bit too far. After Lindsay jumped up, he said, what are you doing? Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you on glue? Now, Kenny, we don't accuse people of being on substances unless we have reason to believe it's true. She's not on glue. I think you're out of line. And I think that's why she's getting all clappy. So he's telling the group, can you ask her to calm down? Ask her what she's on. Can she calm down? Whitney's sitting there with her head on Kenny's shoulder laughing. I can't stand pick-me's like this. And Whitney, I think this man is going to make a complete fool out of you. And it's not going to take too much longer. We're 3 episodes in, watch my words. Because I already see this energy between him and Lindsay. And I think they're going to have a sit down coming up in a couple of episodes. Nick is kind of a fire starter. Yvonne's husband, he's laughing a little bit. He says, well, you're the one, you move here and you're trying to make friends. He's addressing Whitney now. You trying to make friends? Are you trying to be one of the minions? So Whitney's saying that she doesn't want to be one of the minions. It's just hard trying to get interspersed in front of a group of girls. Whitney is crying, y'all. I don't know why Whitney is crying. Whitney has gotten on my nerves. So that's how Kyle was looking. He's looking down the table while all this kind of stuff is going on. Danielle said, well, I'll just take a shot. Kyle said, me too. I'll take a shot too. So that's what went on at that brunch. The brunch was a mess. So then Whitney was saying she doesn't know. It's so hard to make friends and all this kind of stuff. And Dr. Georgina lays her head on Whitney's shoulder. So I'm tired of this. We get a joint confessional with Whitney and Kenny. And Whitney is saying, I'm just not used to all the cattiness. Now, all I see was the women trying to defend her. I'm not used to all the cattiness. When we get back to the table, Lindsay is saying, and then you want to pull your girl into it because Kenny's acting like he's advocating for Whitney. She's having a hard time getting in the group because it's made up of minions. When I don't think that's what it is. I think Whitney's just one of those people. Maybe it's hard for her to warm up to people. So she's sitting there crying. And Lindsay says, this is supposed to be your girl. You won't even give her an effing closet. So Nick starts laughing. You won't give her a closet? And Kenny's looking like, I'm sorry, y'all. Kenny's looking like, I don't know if I'm going to give her a closet or not. We saw how rough that move-in was. 31 boxes. And her taste wasn't all that good either. So this was a mess. So that is how the scene ended. Danielle and Kyle get shots. Oh, y'all, I had scrambled up the scenes, but that's okay. They still make sense. The scene with Whitney, Georgina, and Andrea's wife, Lexi, met on the park bench. So that was fine. That was maybe before they went to brunch or another day. So excuse that. So Whitney knows now that Kenny goes around talking about her like a dog at boys' night and to all his friends. Yet she still wants to defend him. So now we're going to get to the last scene. The last scene is a sit down with Whitney and Kenny. And Whitney's being all passive aggressive and quiet. Remember, she has had this lunch where Lexi told her what Kenny really thinks of her. She's already moved. And so Kenny's sitting there eating his food. You know, when somebody does something, they act like everything is everything. Kenny's eating his food. He's ordering another bottle of wine. He's having a good night. And he's like, how are you doing? How's everything going? And she said, I had a crazy day. So automatically his mood is like, here we go. He said, well, what's going on with your day? What you got going on? She said, well, I had a park meeting with Lexi and with Georgina, and I'm hearing some things. So Kenny's waiting. Kenny know he's been talking about it like a dog and how chatty Kyle and them are. So he's just listening. She said, Lexi told me that you told Kyle, and then Kyle told Andreas that you may not feel a spark. Kenny's just looking at her. You may think our relationship is murky. Kenny's still just looking at her. And then I think he was getting ready to lie, but I think he changed his mind. So I was waiting on him to tell her straight out what's what. But everybody, that was the end of the episode. So now there's a little tension between Whitney, who had her head all on Kenny's shoulder, and Kenny, who I think Kenny would rather kind of move into a relationship, maybe even with Lindsay. But we got Lindsay over here with the sexy milkman. That's the guy that owns the dairy farm. And then next week, we're also going to see Yvonne approach Nick for a baby again. So it sounds like she did get the baby out of him. The baby's due. And then Danielle's being upset at being called a home wrecker. We find out her and Big Head Owen are expecting as well. So this was a pretty good episode. I'm going to give it a solid 7, everybody. I give it a solid 7. And, I've just said, I'm not going to forget to show you all Gavin, since we didn't see him till the last scene. So let's okay, that is Big Head Owen. Let me see, where's Gavin? And y'all, they keep mentioning somebody. There's Gavin with the cap. He's the one that owns the bar that they drink at. It's above a Five Guys. And we find out that Kenny, the creep, has an app on his phone where he watches women and they don't know that he's looking at them. So there is Kenny. He's the owner of the bar. He's in hospitality, and he has opened numerous businesses in and around New York. We only get one scene of Gavin. We need to see more Gavin. But this Katie, I don't know who she is. That's the lovely Andreas. There's Lexi. Lexi, you spreading news. This is Katie. I don't really know who and what her role is. She is friends with Amanda, but we haven't really seen her yet. So I think her and Amanda together are like watching paint dry. Katie, step your game up. Was she even at the brunch? So y'all, that was the end of the episode. I went ahead and gave it a 7. Keywan J, I watch it on Peacock for no commercials, but I think that you can also, I feel like YouTube loaded the first 3 episodes. They do that sometime. Trust 612 is going to catch up. Let me go all the way back. And Whitney is also just boring, LOL. Kiki, I think she's boring as well. I think Whitney is in New York. You can't bust out crying every 2 minutes. You got to save that for the house. Put your street face on. Put your game face on. Keywan J's making a good point. Is this an older version of Next Gen? You could see it as that way. It takes place in New York City, so we're going to get those beautiful backdrops. And then a lot of the people are influencers or in entertainment, but then they got the regular everyday people too. Dr. Georgina has her own dermatology business and does like lasers and different things, Botox, that kind of stuff too. Then Andreas and Lexi are models. So you got the fancy jobs, the regular type jobs, and then you got, now I won't call her a stay-at-home mom. I don't really know what Danielle's doing. I think she's influencing, but some of the SummerHouse people have transitioned to this show. So they got their big boy jobs, big girl jobs. That's a good point. Everybody, I'm going to cover Next Gen NYC so we can put this cloak of immunity on my internet niece, Riley Barris. And then we're adding a few new ones to Next Gen NYC, one of which is Brooke Shields' daughter, everybody. American Born says exactly. Yeah, that is a good summary of what it is. Kind of like a grown-up Next Gen NYC. Kenny really thinks he's the prize. Yeah. Kiki, I don't care for him at all. But again, Lindsay tried to tell the girl, you're going to move all the way cross country, no ring. I mean, you could lose your marriage. It's just like Dr. Georgina did, but it's better to have some kind of stability. Is it good, AB? We're giving it mid. The first episode to me, Keywan, was just like meh. That was episode 1, but I like getting to know everybody. So they might have got a 6 or 7 then. And then the second one, probably 6 or 7. This I'm giving a solid 7 because they are keeping my attention. I'm going to catch up. I feel like I know then now after this live. Yeah, I do feel like I know the cast as well. And then Trust 612, I also did a Meet the Cast. And it's quick. I think it's like a little 20-minute thing. So you can catch that on my channel as well to meet them. AB says, I like it because we get to see what happened after SummerHouse ended last summer. Yes, American Born. And then we feel like we have some inside information, and we do. And there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that's going on. So I love that. Mama B's, great review. Love you, Bob Marley t-shirt. Thank you so much, Mama B's. I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliments. Thank you. Ooh, yeah, Keywan J. I think you'll like it. Keywan J has had to drop all of the housewives except for Rhode Island. because they got on her nerves. But y'all go over there for scripted TV, all kind of stuff. I really love her channel. I think a 7 is a good number as well for the episode. Thank you, AB. Yeah, I feel that too. Cece, what you gonna give them? Great recap at Sandra Peace Gen Extra. I feel like I watched the episode even though I did not. Oh, okay. Y'all lucky Cece didn't watch because you probably get a failing grade from Cece. Cece's a tough grader, but very fair as well. Ophelia, welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. I hope I didn't miss you earlier. She's speaking to Kiwan. Cece is letting the replay gang know, please hit the like button, drop a comment, and let's hype this video up. Y'all, that is a new feature, and you only get 3 per week. So please consider giving it to a growing content creator. Hey, Ophelia, and she's speaking to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much, Kiwan JTV. Let's see who else. Y'all, we are trying to hit these milestones. So we're right there at 900, but we know that one of the milestones that are really important to a creator is 1,000. So if you can help Kiwan J and myself get to 1,000, you come in, click the like button, and that pushes us up in the algorithm. In addition to that, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Charlie does not get the cloak. Kiwan JTV, I had it over the whole show because it was their first season, last season, but he will definitely not get the cloak this season. She's speaking of, Po Charlie, Zakor over on Next Gen NYC, who kept coming at our niece Riley. But Riley was able to have some of her best moments going up against those kids, and I love it. AB, thank you. Yes, great review again, Sandra. Thank you so much. Yeah, TT, Cece is tough. Thank you, American Boy. Cece is a tough critic. Yeah, we are laughing about that. And Troy 612 is speaking to Kiwan J. Everyone's speaking. Exactly, Charlie. Yeah. So that's coming back. I think this month. I'll have to put on when it is for sure. Thank you, everyone, for joining Sandra Peace Gen Extra. Let's see. I showed you Katie. We got to find out. Send out a search crew for Katie. Katie, what are you doing over there? And I showed everybody Gavin and also Kenny. So we had Lindsay getting all clappy. And I guess that probably pushed the episode up as well. So let me just go back so you can see this whole scene. Let's see. That's it. That's pretty much it. All right, there we go. There we are, everybody. Thank you, Cece. I can't help it. I get irritated. Yeah, and these shows are a trip. I mean, if they want us to be engaged, they have to be engaging. That's okay. We love your scores. Yes, it balances things out because sometimes I have my rose-colored glasses on. So we welcome someone new to the chat, which is Miss Kiki at Charleston. Thank you so much. I hope you are not a stranger. Everyone, I will see you in the YouTube streets, probably at an extras. When I get that together, it'll be alive. If I don't pre-record, I'm torn. Have a blessed day, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed day, and I will see you in the YouTube streets. Bye, everybody. Let me see if I can. Let's see. I had the outro as Kamala, but I wanted to show baby Tamra again. So let me make sure she's there.
I don't think that he's good for you.
How do you know what's good for me?
That's my opinion! Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you? That I don't think that he's good. That I don't.